Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 172 of the Nerds Unite as One podcast. I am Paul English, and we are joined by the regular crew of Colton and Mike. What's going on, folks?
Howdy.
Woo! 170 over 170 episodes. That's quite the accomplishment.
Indeed, not sure Caleb and I imagined this when we started. Okay, so guys, in this episode, we're going to be launching a brand new segment with a working title of Watch or Pass. And in this segment, what's going to happen is it's going to be kind of similar to interrogations, but in this instance, only one person is on the hot seat. And the goal of this is the person on the hot seat is going to try to convince, the rest of the crew to watch a movie that they think might be underrated or doesn't get the respect or recognition they feel it deserves. And really no prize for winning. We'll just see if we can convince anyone here to watch it. And for this segment, I am on the hot seat, and the movie that I have chosen is Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World. I absolutely adore this film, and we shall see if I can convince Colton and Mike, if they have not seen it, to watch it. And if they have seen it, one of them has seen it, perhaps they can help me convince the other to go watch it. So that's kind of the outline of how this segment works, and we are going to jump right into this one. So, Mike, I think I'll start with you on this one. What is your first question for me about this film?
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously, star is Russell Crowe, but I mean, I guess it's kind of a two-part one. One, is he like your favorite character in the movie, or two, if he isn't, who would be?
Okay, I'm kind of all right. He is my favorite, but he's not the only one. I'd say him and Paul Bettany kind of share the role of my favorite actors. Their chemistry on screen is absolutely fantastic. You believe that these guys have been lifelong friends for a long time, and their interactions really help to sell this film and make it truly special. All right, Colton, what is your first question?
Okay, so first, I have actually seen this movie, but it's been years, so I'm just going to pretend like it's all brand new for me again. So my first question is, so this movie won an Oscar for Best Cinematography. If you can you describe what you think is the movie's most cinematic moment?
Oh, cinematic moment. That is, as far as like a scene, a shot scene that just, takes your breath away, really?
Yeah, yes.
Oh boy. It's kind of going to be a cop-out answer, and I apologize for it, but there's really too many to list. I think if I had to pick, I guess a theme of them would be the shots of the ship, the HMS Surprise. It is a magnificent-looking ship, and every time you see it on the water, it's just a sight to behold. Whether it's the actual replica being on the open water or whether it's on the soundstage, it is a beautiful ship to behold, and it's a joy to watch. So every time we get a shot with the ship, it's magnificent. All right, Mike, what is your second question?
One of the big kind of draws, or kind of some of the high points of historical movies like this, are like battle scenes. Are there any real strong battle scenes in Master Commander? And does it hold up to other battle scenes we've seen in historical movies?
Short answer is yes. Every single one of them does. And what I love about it is how accurate they are to what naval combat was like during the Napoleonic Wars. When you watch these battle scenes, you're like, okay, this is how naval warfare was fought in the 19th century. And it is absolutely amazing to watch. It is exhilarating. It's energetic. It's fascinating. It's fantastic. You really feel like you're watching, as if someone took a high-def camera and brought it back to the early 1800s to film an actual battle several times.
Nice.
Impressive.
Mm-hmm. They are definitely a highlight among many of this film. All right, Colton, what's your second question?
All right. So, what else besides you? I think that you kind of sort of this will probably be something that you kind of sort of answered with Mike's first question, but it might not be. So, what else besides the battles on the high seas do you think makes this film worth being viewed by more people?
Well, in all seriousness, apart from the fact, I mean, there's really nothing wrong with this movie. I mean, admittedly, it does have a couple flaws. Mainly that for me, it like drags about the 2/3, somewhere between like the second quarter and the third quarter. It kind of drags a little bit, but beyond that, it's well executed. The characters are beyond memorable, but what really stands out to me is, despite the fact that it is a work of fiction, and this is based on historical fiction books by Patrick O'Brian, it is brimming with history. It is one of the most historically accurate films you will ever see. You watch this film, and it's really like stepping back in time. You really get a completely accurate look at what naval battles were like in the golden age of naval warfare. It is incredible, really. And it goes, and a lot of credit has to be given to Peter Weir, for the director Peter Weir, for putting in that extra effort. And you really see it, especially in the little details. And just to give you one example, because I don't have time to go through all of them, the midshipmen, they're at the appropriate age of around 13 years old, which in the Royal Navy in the 1800s, that was true. Even the great Horatio Nelson was a midshipman at 12, 13 years old. So little details like that, they nail it.
You mean they actually hired actual 12 and 13-year-olds?
Well, I don't know if that was their actual age, but that's how they're portrayed to be. But yes, there are a lot of very young children on this movie. So little details like that, as a historian, I appreciate so much. So yes, apart from it being just brilliantly acted with a great story and great pacing and great battle sequence, it's also accurate to the time period, which those are few and far between in Hollywood films, that you get a historical film that's actually accurate, despite it being, and this is true, despite it being a work of fiction. It is accurate to the time period, and I appreciate that a lot. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, Mike, what is your third?
One thing I've noticed in some historical movies that I've watched, they can tend to get so like bogged down in the history and like the facts that the story becomes kind of a little bit convoluted, and they introduce characters because they were supposed to be there, but they don't really factor in. How well does the plot line, like the actual main story, flow?
All right, so there's a period in the film, I think, between when the Surprise first gets to, I think it's the Galapagos Islands. When they first get to the Galapagos Islands, and between that and the death of one of the characters, like near the 2/3, 3/4 mark, it does drag a little bit. At least I think it drags. But beyond that, it is perfectly paced. It is, from start to finish, it is a perfectly paced film. You're not going to be any moment you're like, oh god, this is going on way too long. Aside from that one little section, and that's just me. I'm sure a lot of people won't have a problem with that at all. But yeah, other than that, it's well paced. You will not have a problem with it at all.
What about the story? Does the story get like convoluted a little bit?
No, it does not. It is very straightforward cat and mouse game. The Surprise is looking for this French vessel, the Acheron, despite it being so much bigger, faster, and more powerful. And how do you beat it? That's the plot. That's the plot of the film, and it doesn't stray from that at all.
Excellent.
All right, Colton, what's your third question?
All right. So, at what point during your viewing of the film did you realize that you were watching something special?
Originally my dad made me watch this film when I was a teenager. And when I first saw it, I thought, okay, this is a great movie, but I didn't think of anything too special. But then as I got older and I started really developing my love of history, and I started looking at, studying history more often and watching other reviews of this film, that's when I began to realize, wow, this movie is really special because it's entertaining as hell. But more importantly, this is something that is accurate to, like I said, accurate to the time period. Like, this is a movie you could legit show a high school history class, and they would get a good education from it. And that's something that I've been fervent believe in, that they're few and far between. But if you're gonna show, teachers, if you're gonna show a Hollywood film, make sure that it's accurate to a story or accurate to a time period. Don't show freaking Gladiator to a history class, because as much as I love that movie, and it is a great movie, it's about as historically accurate as an episode of Game of Thrones. So that's not a film you show to a history class. Master and Commander is, despite it being fiction.
Wait. You saying that dragons are fiction? I gotta go.
So yes, that's why it's special, because it's entertaining as hell and it's accurate, and you can show this to school children and they'll get a good education from it and be entertained, which I've always believed that the best way to learn is to be entertained at the same time, and you don't realize you're learning.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Mike, we are down to our final question. What is it for you?
Oh, I thought we only had 3 questions.
Nope, we got 4.
All right. You know what? Summarize the plot.
I'm pretty sure I just did. Russell Crowe
Yeah.
plays Captain Jack Aubrey. He is the commander of a British warship, the HMS Surprise, crewed by 197 men with 28 guns, and he is dispatched to the Atlantic to track down the French privateer Acheron, a much larger, much faster, and more powerful ship, who is on a mission to seize British merchant ships with the orders to sink, burn, or take a prize. And that's it. That is the plot of the film.
Yeah, the beauty is in the simplicity sometimes.
Mm-hmm. All right, Colton, what is your final question?
Well, the story is only as good as its hero. So, Russell Crowe, did his character have a particular highlight that you really made you a fan of him?
I mean, his whole performance was great. I mean, there was not a single moment that I was like, dude, shut up. He was absolutely brilliant. And if you like his performance, I would encourage you to read up on the real life person that he's based on, and that is Lord Thomas Cochrane. Look him up on Wikipedia, because that guy is a badass motherfucker with one of the coolest life stories you'll ever read.
I think I
you
will.
think Russell Crowe with Jack Aubrey's badass? Wait till you read about Cochrane.
Oh, life stories. I thought you were going to say lightsabers.
Lightsabers on a pirate on a naval ship would be pretty cool, though.
Yeah, how cool would that be? Come on.
Not in this movie. Oh, all right, guys. So with that corny as hell reference, that's going to wrap up this episode. I hope you enjoyed this segment. Let us know in the comments down below what you think. And Colton, thank you very much for being here. I hope I convinced you to give this film a rewatch.
I think you did, actually. I mean, in addition to how just really passionate you were about it, you also reminded me that this has a lot of things that I'm pretty into. And I do remember enjoying Paul Bettany and Russell Crowe's character's friendships and their dynamic, especially the part where they're arguing about going onto the island so that Paul Bettany's character could do his little experiments and all that jazz, and how they I won't spoil anything, but it was pretty cute, and I do love me a good battle on the high seas, so I'll definitely give it a watch if I can track down my copy where I put my copy.
All right. And Mike, thank you very much for being here as well. I hope I also convinced you to give this film a watch.
You've made me more interested than I was at the beginning. So I guess that's the whole point of this.
And if you do watch this film and you enjoy it, I would also encourage you to do what I'm doing, which is trying to hunt down the books that they're based on. The Aubrey Maturin book series by Patrick O'Brian. There's 20 official ones with a 21st one that was unfinished. I'm looking for them right now, seeing if Barnes & Noble has them. Maybe I'll swing by there next time me and Kayla have a chance to hang out. But yes, I definitely want to look them up.
I wouldn't at all be surprised if my buddy Andy is a few of those. He's that's his cup of tea right there.
Well, then watch it with him. I mean, if he's seen this,
he has definitely seen it. He enjoys it.
All right, guys. So thanks very much for being here. We will see you next time. Until then, have a great night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.